All right. So first of all, we got to get through a bunch of text, but what you're about to see is a bunch of really good and really tight movement execution from these runners. Being both sub 130 runners, I think we can expect a really clean and a really nice sub 6 escape.
Let's, of course, RNG has other things in mind, but yeah, for the most part, I would agree with that statement.
Now, as you may have seen on this channel, the object of the escape is to free Princess Zelda from the jail cells beneath and then take her out to the sanctuary. After that, we'll be progressing on. We'll have free range of the overworld after that, but we just got to get through this section first. So we're gonna go down in the sewers. We're gonna get ourselves a sword and shield from our uncle. He's not feeling too well, so we're gonna take on the adventure for him.
It's a good thing now that we get the sword, we don't have to pick up the bushes. We can slosh our way through them. It's a little bit quicker.
See Parisian player getting a little bit nicer RNG with those green guards, allowing him to face north a lot sooner. That way he can start pumping towards the door frame.
And as you can see, the timers aren't quite in sync just yet, so they're right at this point. And look, we have our sync here. These guys are frame for frame right now.
Oh yeah, I believe that we're gonna see a lot of this throughout the run.
Andy with the better PB of 125. Parisian has a 128, but still in a race format, anything can happen. It should be a very, very close race.
Yeah, I think Parisian's some of best is a 126, so he's definitely due for a PB coming up here soon.
Parisian missing the spin on the green guard there, falling a little bit behind now.
Yeah, it really depends kind of like the direction that the green guard is going. The best RNG that you can get is if he's headed right towards Link. You can pretty much release your spin a little bit after exiting that door frame.
I'd imagine both of our races are going to go for an 8/ strat here. And no, Parisian's going for the pot.
Both of them are pretty good strategies. The pot helps with a little bit of damage control if you struggle with the ball and chain guard. Plus, it's a really good way just to, like, deal half of the damage all at once and just knock it right into the corner. So it's nice and clean if you can make it work for you.
Neither of our racers forgetting the lamp in the dungeon there. You actually can't progress in the game unless you have the lamp once you get to the third room, so it's a good thing they picked that up.
Have you ever tried to push that that statue without picking up the lamp?
I have. You can't.
Yeah, I think it was probably during the first month that I was running the game. I think I did that, and it's definitely a lesson that you'd never forget. So Andy entering this room about 4:23. Anywhere between 4:20 and like 4:26 is a really good time to set you up for the second half of Escape. That shows that you were able to get through the ball and chain guard and then deal with whatever RNG that you had, and that's a pretty good setup for, I believe, like a 153, 154, assuming good RNG.
Absolutely. Andy having to be a little quick on his toes here to get what I like to call the Dark Rat. Dark Rat will rush at you from the darkness, and just, you know, hit you for a heart of damage and slow you down a little bit, but Andy was ready.
Unfortunately, Andy got picked off by the little bat. Depending on where it is, you can kind of manipulate its movement. If it's in a really good position, you can kind of like pump up a little bit and it'll just flutter right out of your way.
Yep, depending on how you move up that way, you can get the bat to swing right out of your way.
Ooh, Andy getting one of the most unfortunate RNGs for that rat, getting it up in the top left or top right corner, but managed to get a quick kill and also get the boomerang off. So rather impressive there. Parisian got a much better RNG, but he's taking a lot of damage here.
That was a rough room there for both of them. We got a 555 for Andy and a 559 for Parisian. So 2 sub-6 escape times.
Yeah, unfortunately, Parisian had some really tough RNG there. The rats got right in his way.
Andy opted not to go get the Sang Heart. Parisian is going to get it.
Now, this is dangerous. Andy's already on half health. Now, he needs to be careful with the Octoroks, depending on their RNG.
Andy's a grizzled veteran, though. He's been playing this game a long time, so I'm sure he's been going without the Sang Heart for years now.
So coming up next, we have Eastern Palace. Eastern Palace is the home of the bow, but more importantly, it gets us the green pendant. You gotta take that green pendant to Sahasrahla, and then we get the Pegasus boots. Pegasus boots are amazing for setting up bomb jumps, for hovering, for spin speed, and just general movement. It's a great way to get around this game, and it really helps with it all in total. A lot of different categories for this game. You'll see them go into Eastern Palace, even in the major glitched ones, because having the boots allows you to like line up specific clips or get in a better position, as well as get those movement tech in there.
So that's how you pronounce it. I always thought it was Sahasrahla.
I mean, it begins with S and ends with gibberish.
Andy going past the hard pot there. I wonder where he's fixing to get this hard. Probably this room. Yep.
Ooh, and he got the magic drop too.
He's blowing off the five arrow pot in the bigger room.
I mean, there's still a pretty good chance that the red Igors are going to drop arrows for you, but still, it's about a 1 second time loss to pick up those arrows and to guarantee yourself having enough.
Yeah, you're definitely rolling the dice if you depending on the Igors. It's much better off to just pick them up right here. We're on the big bridge here. You can double pump across in these brief sections that have rails on both sides, which make your movement much faster.
Yeah, but keep in mind, you only want to be pumping when Link is facing certain directions, either north or up, or left or west. Both of those are the best ways to get the most out of your pumping. If you're moving the other way and you're pumping, chances are you're not even getting any benefit out of it. In fact, you may even be losing some movement and some time based on it by frames. And taking a more cautious route there. He's really low on health, so he just wanted to make sure that he gets that green Igor all the way out of the way, and also takes care of the Popo.
Got himself 25 rupees too.
Oh yeah, that red drop definitely doesn't hurt. Good Zelda gamer room here from Andy. Moving on to the double red agar room.
He got the arrow drop. No, Andy's going for the middle approach here. Let's see it. Very nicely done. Parisian players are going to be setting up for the more traditional top right approach. Both of them. Andy's method is a little bit faster in the top right, but it's much more difficult to execute. And this is going a little sideways here for Parisian, but he cleans it up nice.
Yeah, unfortunately, one of those Armos Knights got away from him.
Right, so here's our favorite person that nobody knows how to pronounce his name. Sahara. He's gonna give us some boots that let us run fast.
And now we get to utilize one of the most effective movement minor glitch here, spin speed. What's so good about spin speed is allowing you to maintain your Pegasus boost speed, moving any direction, and even be able to continue past changing direction. It'll either kick you out if you press the dash button again, or if you hop off of a ledge. You might be asking yourself, man, this is so advantageous, why don't they do it all over the place? Well, when you're in this state, you actually cannot swing your sword at all. So you're completely defenseless unless you have items that you can utilize at your disposal. Because you can still utilize things like the hook shot, the bow, while you're in there. But you know, we need to save our arrows, and we don't have the hook shot yet. So we gotta be careful where we use this early on. Little bit of a high five there as Andy's leaving the library with the book as Parisian is just going in there to check it out. Yes, a lot of the minor glitches that we're utilizing are version 1.0 only. Spin speed, fake flippers, but you can still bomb jump in the US versions and other Japanese versions of the cartridge. I believe you can even still hover in some of the other versions as well.
I actually did a playthrough at PAX. They had SNES Classics set up at PAX, so I did a playthrough of the Dark Worlds. I was able to do the bomb jump. That was cool.
Yeah, because those ones, they're more of a frame ruling and like pixel placement, but it doesn't have anything to do with like putting Link either into a glitch state.
Also, the torch glitch worked as well.
Correct. I'm also pretty sure that the Hamayump in Palace of Darkness is also able to be done in any of the versions.
Can confirm. I was able to pull it off on the same playthrough.
And he's giving us a little bit of book spam there.
You know, the book spam then makes you go faster. No, it really doesn't. But I like to say it does.
Why would you give people false information like that? We're trying to be helpful.
Well, you do realize that there's a line in the SMRPG speedrun guide that says if you don't get the Peach Kiss and Marrymore, you need to reset.
Oh, the hazing and new speedruns. The mirror, I believe, is also only 1.0. I don't want to say for sure, but yeah, disappearing blocks is 1.0 only. Although I do believe that you can still shoot the hook shot or the fire rod past blocks in the moving in any version.
More book spam from the Allegiance man.
So this dungeon's pretty straightforward, pretty easy, but I mean, what's the real danger of this dungeon? Or honestly, what's the most difficult part about this dungeon, D-Rock?
I would say it'd have to be the boss of the dungeon, Land Molus. The RNG worms from hell.
Yeah, there's only so much that our runners can do to try to set up a really good boss fight here. You're going to see them getting to a specific position in the room, and that's going to set up the first round of it. Now, after they erupt, they're always going to erupt left, right, and then south first. But the direction that they go is completely up to them. So our runners are going to have to learn when they erupt from the ground, as well as being able to deal with the RNG, as Andy's doing right now. He's doing a really good job of trying to get those arrows in there. Now, you can try to spam as many arrows as you can to get inside Lamos, but the problem with the bow and arrow is that you can only have one arrow on screen in transit until it's hit something. So if you miss, as Parisian player did unfortunately, he has to wait until the arrow crosses the entire screen and connects with the wall before he can fire another arrow.
Tidy 5 cycle there for Andy.
And a really good fight also for Parisian player.
Andy got a short hop on the last one there, otherwise it would have been a 4. He got a little unlucky there. That's why I say RNG worms from hell. If that worm jumped a little longer, Andy would have definitely had him in that face. And he gets the cactus dash. Look at this.
That's a really tight input. Parisian going for the easier one to get. There's a lot of spots where you can stop on that and still get your dash on through.
That's a nice overworld from Andy right there. Very nice.
Oh yeah, you definitely want to have a really nice, clean fake flipper glitch here. Unfortunately, Parisian getting shocked by the little green pickle there. So fake flippers is a 1.0 specific glitch. It allows you to obviously use the flippers without actually having them, but there is a huge downside to it. If you get hit on the screen where the game has essentially said, oh, well, you're in the water, but you don't have flippers, but since you went to the next screen, you obviously should have flippers, right? So, but if you get hit, the game's going to try to put you back in the water. It can't, but it's going to try to put you back on the screen previous. So if you get hit at all during these group stages, you are allowed to save and quit, go to Link's house, and then progress to Death Mountain as you see fit. In the bracket stages following this, it's going to be a little bit more risky. You have to go all the way back down to that bush, touch it, and then progress as you see fit. If you move at all without saving and quitting, now that's the real danger. That is going to soft lock your game. Now, since there is no saving and quitting in No Major Glitches, what's going to happen is that you're going to have to start the run all over again. And that, at this point, specifically in a race, that is a huge time loss.
Andy getting one of the 2 quick warps. Missing on the Spectacle Rock one just by a little bit there. You got the buffer to the mirror. Parisian misses the quick warp. Dang it. I imagine we'll see the swag strat in the title room from Andy.
Yeah, and is going to be utilizing a item dash, which is another 1.0 minor glitch. Now, this is probably one of my favorite minor glitches that you can do in this game. Any of the items you can do an item dash with that allows you to. Some of them are a little bit more useful. Some of them are just kind of fun to do. Like the Cane of Samaria is really fun to do.
I was talking about this with, I think it was Eudaimonistic. Wouldn't it be fun if you got a shovel dash and it dug up all the spots in your way?
It definitely would. Unfortunately, it does dig holes, but it doesn't actually give you any items out of it.
The most useful item dash, obviously, being the hammer dash, which will knock down any hammerable objects in your way. Very useful speed strat.
Yeah, followed secondly by the hook dash. That allows you to get into spin speed much easier and much faster. You don't have to wait for your sword to charge, and you get to maintain your optimum movement because while your sword is out, you're only moving about 1 pixel at a time, and it's a lot slower whenever you're trying to go up manual staircases.
I don't know if Andy does the early bomb jump, but oh, he mirrors out! Oh no! Parisian player now has the lead.
The cool part about this is that Andy's going to be getting an additional bomb. So if he has any trouble with this bomb jump, he has a nice backup.
Parisian player with a bonkless bomb jump setup. So he knew that he was less than 2 pixels away from the hole, and he was good to go without a bonk. Very nicely done.
Yeah, doing it without the bonk is a little bit tougher. You got to kind of look at the positioning of Link's shadow in proportion to where the hole is. And what the bonking does is it allows you to increase the pixels that you need to be on, so that way you can actually get a successful bomb jump. So I don't want to use the term free, but it's definitely much easier to get a bomb jump when you use a bonk.
Yeah, you get 6 pixels instead of 2. So it triples your chances. It triples your distance away from the hole in order to get it. Andy has 1 heart on Moldorm here, so I really hope he's able to play it safe but still fast.
Yeah, Andy's getting a much better Moldorm RNG here.
Andy has retaken the lead.
Yeah, unfortunately, Parisian is just getting... he got a little bit RNG screwed with Moldorm hanging out on the left side past the middle hole. I mean, you can try to go for him there, but the risk of either falling off or even worse, getting middle hold is much greater in there.
The gap has closed by a ton for Parisian player. This is like close race again.
Yeah, it looks like Andy unfortunately was trying to get that spin speed there, but a little bit extra diagonal movement there, and you saw that he fell off now. That is the fastest way to kind of get out of Hera, but as you saw, like there's a lot of downsides, and some runners will even try to do that out of Desert Palace, and the worst part about that is falling off and having to completely re-enter Desert just to get to the same spot that you were. Both of our runners here are setting up the Rupee Tree strat. This is a little bit faster than getting the rupees behind Sahasrara, but it's definitely much riskier. What our runners are hoping to do is get 4 kills without taking any damage after they pulled that tree to get the blue rupees. That's going to unlock the tier 3 pull, and that's going to give them 80 rupees total. Now, Andy's in a good position here. He's got enough to get the 110. Parisian's not that far behind, but good news is that while he will be 5 rupees short, there is going to be 6 rupees in his way in the Circle of Pot room. So both of our runners here are going to have the required rupees to get Kiki and to get into pot.
These two are 2 seconds apart at the Master Sword. This is incredible. This is going to be a fantastic race.
Both of our runners here not picking up the mushroom here. I believe the only safety that Parisian gets is the sand cart. Meanwhile, Andy is running without any safeties whatsoever. So coming up is another RNG boss, Aghanim. Now, it depends on how he's feeling today, whether or not he's going to give our runners a lot of blue balls or no blue balls, or just kind of like some combination in between there. But there's a lot of different rooms here with a good RNG or that we're hoping for, but we're going to see a lot of really cool execution coming from both these runners.
Right here we have Aghanim's Tower, a sequence of well-placed rooms and a lot of really cool tech in this place if executed properly.
Oh yeah, this was definitely a satisfying kind of dungeon to learn. You know, in practice, getting a lot of the strategies really makes this place go by super quick. Parisian aggroed the guards, but he had a good timing there and was able to get through unscathed. So both of our runners, well, actually, unfortunately, Andy lost his beams. Maintaining beams in this this segment has some advantages to it, but Andy's got more than enough arrows to kind of deal with not having the sword beams.
There's also strats in this dungeon that change based on whether or not you have sword beams, and we'll see that in his approach. This room, for instance, with the two red guards, the two red spear guards to be more specific, you normally, if you had sword beams, you'd normally just swing your sword and alert them with the sound of the sword beam, but as you can see, he tinked on the statue to get their attention to set the top one up for a double spin.
Yeah, as you can see, Parisian was able to utilize his sword beams to aggro the guards and also get them in a better positioning there. Unfortunately, he had probably the worst RNG with the red guard, and he was just moving a little bit too quick and didn't get that boomerang off fast enough to freeze him. Alright, Andy is first to enter the room. Parisian won't be too far behind. Let's see how many blue balls we got for our runners.
Hoping for 0 for both.
Poor Parisian here is getting overloaded with blue balls.
It's like our running tally in chat has it at 3 for Parisian, 1 for Andy. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be 3-1.
Yeah, unfortunately, Parisian got in his first phase just loaded with blue balls. Still, not that bad. Parisian just had to get one more phase of Aghanim. 305 sword up for Andy. And he's headed towards Palace of Darkness. Probably one of the best parts about this run is getting out of Light World. You really get to do a lot more in Dark World, and there's a lot more movement, tech, responding to RNG, and the dungeons are a lot longer too. So it's kind of like, it's much more fun to be in the Dark World, although it is a lot more dangerous.
You'd say that the run almost really starts in Dark World.
Yeah, I'd 100% agree with that. Andy getting a nice placement there for Kiki, and getting Kiki an extra pixel of movement there. So the point of that is to get Kiki right up and on Link. That's going to help. That's going to help Kiki unlock the door faster. Kiki has to basically walk up to Link after that cutscene or that little text box clears. So you want Kiki to be as close as possible to you. Kiki just a little bit behind Parisian. So Andy's got a couple extra bombs here. So if he so chose, he could definitely skip some of the bombs on the way.
One more mirror for Andy, and he's going to be heading up for everybody's favorite Hammery Yump.
Yeah, Hammer Up is definitely one of the big perks of this dungeon. I think every single dungeon pretty much has like the big thing to get. Hammer Yump is here. Thieves Town, you have the Hellway, Skullwoods. You just want to get through the Gibdo room, honestly. But that one really comes down to Mothula having a really quick fight. Ice Palace, you have, of course, the Ice Palace bomb jump. But in addition, just getting a nice quick cold stairs is really the one that you want there. Misery Mire has the Vidi fight. And then, I mean, Turtle Rock has a lot of them, really. Turtle Rock has the roller room. It's got chomps. It's got the double. It's got the pokey rooms, and of course, laser skip bridge and backdoor Trinex strats.
That was a really clean Hammer Yump from Andy. Very, very clean.
The double-edged jump thing, it's honestly, I think what happened was Andy was on the verge of falling down, and he just tried to like get to the ledge and just get right back up on there. And I think just like Link's response to where he was, it gave him it just gave him a little ledge hop. Nothing to be concerned about. He's not going to accidentally EG. Almost sexy statue from Parisian Player. Andy, meanwhile, heading to the turtle room here. Let's see how nicely it goes for him. Well, unfortunately, the bottom right one was going down, so it kind of missed that hammer hit to flip him over. But good cleanup regardless, and doesn't get a lonely turtle in that room.
All right, so coming up to the helmet fight here, and he's going to have to swing the hammer at the mask 17 times to remove it, all the while dodging the boss's fireball attacks, possibly, and tail whips. Little known fact that if you do get a fireball on screen, as you break the mask, you can actually despawn the fireball by breaking the mask. That was a really quick fight from Andy. Very nice.
Yeah, the other thing is that the tail attack that Helmasaur does, you can actually manipulate where it is depending on what side of Helmasaur you are. So in phase 2, when Helmasaur is doing 2 attacks at the same time rather than just 1, you can kind of position Link in a position where the tail will go on the right or left side, and then you can move out of the way. What Andy was doing is he was getting up close and personal and was able to get a couple of hammer hits on there. Now, getting the hammer hit on Helmasaur is not too difficult, but it does require you to be positioned in a really close spot. So if Helmasaur decides to move down, if he's going to drop a fireball, it's kind of hard to see how close you are. The hitbox for the hammer is very small, especially when you're aiming up. And really good fight also from Parisian. Didn't get a lot of fireballs and was able to execute that fight really cleanly.
All right, Andy's on his way out of Palace of Darkness, on his way to Dark Kakariko Village, but he's going to make a pit stop in the Haunted Grove to pick up a shovel and then pick up a flute.
Now, this is one of the longer overworld segments that we have to do in this run. There's only a couple more that we have to after this. One of them is to get the Tempered Sword, another one is to get the Flippers, and the last one is to get the last of the required items, Ether and Ice Rod.
First try dig from Andy. Sometimes it's hard to get it in the first dig, but Andy is brushing aside that notion and just dazzling us with that one try dig. Well, he's coming up to Usain Bolt here, the fastest red guard in all of Hyrule, but he's gonna jet right by him.
Yeah, a good safety is if you touch the flower on the way that's kind of close to the library, you'll always skip Usain Bolt, no problem. But you can take a couple of little closer edges to it and still get by.
All right, Andy entering Thieves Town here. Andy on his way up to the Hellway, and we'll see if he can get the pixel and get the enemies to line up in the right position as well. Looks like he had the pixel to begin with, but he didn't like the place with the enemy, so he kind of moved. A very clean Hellway right there.
Oh yeah, I mean he's still got really good RNG regardless.
Everybody's favorite scripted boss blind here.
Yeah, if you're having a lot of problems with blind, even if you're just having problems getting the quick kill in the third hit or the third phase, at least getting consistent with phase 1 and 2 can make this fight much less difficult.
Both runners having a pretty clean blind fight there. Andy's gonna loot a few houses in the Village of Thieves, a village of outcasts actually. He's gonna have to pay for some footwear to swim in water.
Alright, Andy's going over to get his Tempered Sword. Parisian's not going to be too far behind, but Andy also needs to get the remainder of the rupees. The benefit of coming here to Thieves Town is we're going to be able to combo a couple of dungeons together, get the money that we need for the flippers, and also increase our damage output.
Now our sword swings will be as strong as a hammer hit.
All right, so Andy's coming into the first section of Skull Woods. This one we're definitely hoping for a good good give-to movement here. And he's pulling down the statue a little bit far, but he managed to get really good movement on those give-dos, so they weren't in his way. Optimally, what you're trying to do is you pull the statue just down a little bit, just enough for Link to kind of scooch past it, but not enough for the give-dos to kind of get at you. So it allows you to kind of wrap around that statue really quick and pull it up, that way you can get through the door. And using a little bit of sword buffers there to get on the proper pixel. Nice give to Hellway coming here from Andy. Parisian getting himself a fire rod, and Andy's on his way to the Mothula boss.
Fun fact about Mothula, if you hit him into the spikes, he doesn't take damage. Another fun fact, he doesn't take damage from the butter sword.
I have a feeling that those are connected.
They are connected. It turns out that both the spikes in the butter sword swing both issue class 4 damage. And since Mothula is in a room filled with spikes, he is immune to class 4 damage.
So if I come to this boss, let's say for instance I have the gold sword, and I wanted to, like, I picked it up and I came here hoping to complete this dungeon like much later. How can I defeat this boss with the gold sword?
I'm glad you asked, Indies. You would have to poke him with the gold sword in order to defeat him.
Couldn't keep a straight face with that one, could you?
I did okay on that.
All right, so Parisian's coming in here to the boss fight. Let's see how he manages it. Oh, it's looking good. Ooh, beautiful fight here from Parisian.
Andy on his way to disturb a goldfish and pay off a fish for some finger webs. Now, it may look like Andy just intentionally bonked off the side of the cliff there, and you'd be right to assume that. However, it is actually a perfect quick warp setup. So, the Allegiance man just saved half a second right there.
Yeah, half a second every time you get a quick warp. Some of them are easier to get than others, but I believe there's every single moment or every single spot where you utilize the mirror, there is a quick warp potential close by. So coming up next is a dungeon that is normally pretty long, but the way that we're going to get through this dungeon, it's going to essentially eliminate half of the dungeon from being done.
Oh yeah, you jet right through Ice Palace. You barely even do anything in there. You don't even get the big key. Nice movement on the skating rink there. So if you swing your sword, you're able to change movements rather drastically on ice. So the ice physics are a little funny in this game, but hey, you know how to manipulate it. That's how you get a good time.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, you actually move a lot faster in the ice physics whenever you're moving diagonally. So by like utilizing sword slashes or hammer hits while you have diagonals kind of hit, I believe you pick up more speed.
Yeah, to answer Goliath in chat, I'd estimate Andy is ahead by about a minute. But that could change quickly here, because this is a very unforgiving dungeon if you take a death. The setup with the dash. Andy just blowing us away here. Is the hover. I have to say I expected that.
What are you talking about? Andy never hovers.
Oh yeah, you're right. What the heck just happened then? Andy just did some kind of crazy thing and just walked across the gap.
He must be practicing.
I think he is, yeah.
But yeah, hovering is it's a really good trick. You can do it on any of the versions. It's just a matter of tempo. From what you see, or if you watch people do this on like the practice ROM, you'll see the A button being pressed a lot of times. It's not how fast you're alternating the button on and off. It's how rhythmic you're doing it. You can actually get it with a pretty standard rhythmic of like kind of like that. You can get a really good rhythm, and as long as you maintain that and you get it every time that that you need to, then you will still maintain the hover. Parisian doing the ice pause bunker, looking good there. Gets over. Beautifully done.
Textbook cold stare kill from Andy there.
It's actually like there's a couple of different techniques out there. Some people utilize wrist movement. Some people kind of utilize an elbow movement. Me personally, I utilize an elbow movement. I find it a little bit easier to stay consistent.
I have yet to learn how to hover.
So Andy had a really good cold surf fight. Let's see how Parisian does it. He needs to utilize his full magic bar here to release cold surf from the ice shell. And it looks like he's doing the 6 slash method. Ooh, Cold Stare got away from me. He needs to be careful. Cold Stare does 6 hearts of damage, or not 6, 4 hearts of damage to him, and he only has 7 here.
Yeah, he could have taken a hit from a puff, but not 2 hits from a puff.
Yeah, Cold Stare's a really dangerous boss. Normally in this dungeon, you would have gotten the blue mail, which would have reduced the damage by these puffs down to 2.
And he gets a Swamp Palace Quick Warp. That one's actually pretty tricky to set up. That's really impressive.
Did you get it both ways?
Yes.
Alright, so sometimes we can see a route differential coming up here. So Parisian is going up here to go get his ether, while Andy is going into Swamp Palace here. Now, Andy will still have to get the ether medallion and the ice rod, but some players decide to get it before Swamp. That way they can guarantee having sword beams in Mire, which is a much more of a time save. And also, it's good to know how many bombs you have. So if you only have 1 bomb, I've also seen people go for ether and ice rod during the split as well, just so that way they can make sure that as they leave Swamp, they can pick up one of the bombs on the way out. So what our runners are doing right now is part of the Tempered Sword route. If you are still running this game, but you're like, oh man, doing Ganon Silverless or Gold Swordless seems a little bit difficult, you can still run this category. There is a separate route if you're using Gold Sword and Silver Arrows. You're actually going to go to Mire after you're done with Ice Palace, and then you will do Swamp after Mire, because that'll put you in a position where you are just below the hut, where you can buy the big bomb and head up to the Fat Fairy inside the pyramid and get yourself your upgrade before you head off to Turtle Rock.
Both these plays on a very solid pace too to begin with. Very, very, very well paced. Alright, coming to the Argus fight on Andy's side here. I'd imagine we are going to see a 0 cycle. Yep. Here we go. Will he get it? Oh yeah, he's done this a few times.
Yeah, he had to reposition, unfortunately, but he still got a really clean clear in there. Unfortunately, he did miss the 0 cycle.
Yeah, he got the 1 cycle, which is still it's still really good.
So Parisian is off to go get his big key here. Soon he'll be getting the hook shot, and then we'll see how he takes on Argus. I don't know if he's going to go for the 0 cycle, but you know, the other way that you can kind of tackle this is just by like pulling him as close as possible. Pulling Argus close to the bottom wall will cause him to move a lot slower towards Link, so it gives you a little bit more time to kind of get as many puffs as possible before he starts spinning them around. So Andy's taking a little bit of damage here, but don't fret. The bushes in the Dark World often drop hearts and or a fairy, so he can get right back up to sword beams. If not, the crabs that he's going to be utilizing one of the bombs for to get to the ice rod have also a good chance in order for him to get the beams that he would want for Mire. You don't need them. You can still do the quick Mire with quick Mire 2 with the fire rod, but it's just a little bit tighter input. Parisian's taking a lot of damage here, but in a couple of runes from now, there's 2 jellies and 4 skull pots. There are 2 hearts on the left side that he can pick up here if he so chooses. All right, so Andy just needs to get 1 bomb in Mire. Before he goes up to, or on the way that he's going to get the big key, there are some some like lakes that he can kill, and they tend to drop a bomb every time.
I wonder if Andy will give us a bird toss here.
Maybe.
Aw. But from what I understand, he's on PvP, so it's definitely understandable. Oh yeah, absolutely 100% agree, Mashy. Although I do believe Parisian already did his cleanup. I know he got ether.
He got ether and ice rod, so he's going straight to Meyer.
Yeah. We got a 105.57 torches time for Legion's Andy. Very, very, very solid.
Yeah, you can usually tack on about 20 minutes onto a run to kind of give an idea of like where you're headed as soon as you get through this room. So Andy's already taken 3 hearts of damage. He's going to take another set of 3 hearts of damage in order to get this small key here. So it's going to put him kind of low on hearts. It's going to put him at about 5, but he has a chance to get a heart from the skull pot right underneath the whiz robe on his way towards the last half of this dungeon. 5 hearts is still more than enough to do the WQ Vidi strat. Although it will leave you with only 1 heart, so it's a little bit tighter, but it's still possible.
Andy heading into the basement of Meyer here. These next couple rooms are really technical, but they're really cool to see when they're executed correctly. (107.47) torches from Parisian. So a little bit under 2 minutes time difference between these runners. If you haven't already, !R or !C will pop up links for your racers and commentators respectively. Make sure that you give these runners a follow. They're allowing us to broadcast their game here on this rematch set up from after the unfortunate incident that happened. Very nice 0 cycle video from Andy here. Very, very clean. Very well done.
And look how low that crystal catch is, right up on Link's hat.
All right, Andy on his way to Turtle Rock. See if we see the drive-through. No. He handled that section very well, though. That section right there could give you a lot of trouble. It really could be a pain in the butt.
Yeah, you have to kind of hope that if you're going to try to go for the drive-through, that the dead rocks are not going to be in your way. And if they are, you got to kind of respond as quickly as possible with hitting them with your hook shots. So that way they can get out of your way. Nice clean zero cycle from Parisian as well. It's definitely nice to have sword beams into a rock here to get the jellies out of your way. You don't want to flash them in just in case they're going to spark and knock you off. So you got to be a little bit careful here. But if you have sword beams, you can get them out of your way before they are an issue, and you can preserve your health.
Hookshotting into the pit is definitely not the intended method there, but it's very effective in getting back to the pit before that torque closes.
Yeah, the route that our runners use to light those torches, by the time that you get back around, chances are that one of the torches is going to be taken out, and you're not going to be able to get in that door. So Andy, hoping that his prize pack is going to pay off here. Ooh, unfortunately doesn't get the fairy here, so maybe one of the pokies along the way will be giving him that fairy. Parisian doing a good job of keeping those dead rocks out of his path. Beautiful double pokey room.
Yeah, that was really nice. Wasn't even the best RNG for that room either, but Andy was able to handle it. You know, Andy's kind of putting on a clinic here today, and I'm glad I'm watching it. Andy having a little trouble here with the laser skip.
He's got to be careful here.
Gets in, gets out.
Yeah, being in that room with low health is super scary. The last thing that you want to do is try to slash with the pokey to try to like get it out of your way, because there's been a lot of times I've been low on health in that dungeon, in that rune specifically, and you try to slash the pokey to get it out of your way, and one of the little bits bounces off and just catches it right at the end. Good pokies 2 execution from Parisian player. Didn't get the best RNG, but managed to get those spins in, and Andy takes down Trinex.
Yeah, he was able to power through the end of that dungeon. He had a little bit of trouble on that laser skip area, but he was able to power through that really well.
Yeah, if you're really confident with your Trinex fight, kind of getting there low on health, it's not too much of a worry. Parisian is coming up on the laser skip bridge, so let's see how he handles it. Beautifully.
Yeah, Parisian's going to pick up a little bit of time on that. It's going to tighten up here, and anything can happen in G Tower. It's not over yet.
Parisian got a little bit of ice on the floor here. I don't imagine Andy's going to have too much issue with G Tower, and I also going to throw this out here there now. Probably going to see a hover at Moldorm too. I mean, if you don't got to fight the guy, why would you?
It's definitely faster.
Parisian making his way to G Tower here, and he's on Ice Armos. We're going to see the bottom right strategy now. The strategy he's using, you can also do on Armos in Eastern. There's 3 different ways to kind of do it optimally. Obviously, the one that Andy did is really complicated, but it is the fastest way. The way that Parisian did it is the second fastest way, but also the most common way to kind of do it. Ooh, unfortunately, Parisian hitting the switch with the boomerang.
And the little area right there can be a little bit tricky, especially if you're like rushing along as you go there. Definitely can be a frustrating area to get caught in. It's like he's past it now. It's good.
Yeah, the worst one is when you get the double. When you throw the boomerang pretty low and you maintain a really low X coordinate, and then you just kind of like you try to get that hook shot off really early. You end up hitting the thing twice.
Very nice one cycle, mold orm 2. Excuse me, land mode 2. My personal favorite room right here, the Whiz Robe room. That room looks so cool when you're able to kill all 4 like that.
Oh yeah, and also being able to get the dash out of the room makes it a super quick room. Nice Armos 2 from Parisian here. He actually has more than enough arrows to conquer the mimics, so he's just going to mirror after getting that big key.
Triple mold orm on ice. That just sounds like a nightmare. Oh no, Andy fell. And imagine he's going to get right back up on that horse and go for a hover again now. And a map. And a hover.
That's a really tight input, getting both that map and maintaining your hover.
Well done, Andy. Well done.
Good fight coming from Andy. Agnum gave him pretty good patterns, but he was able to adjust as necessary and at least get a 2-2-2. Nice 3 cycle.
Shout outs to Skate Man. All right, let's see a 1-1 here. You got this, Andy. Let's go, buddy. Nice 1-1, Andy.
Parisian making his way through the final bits of G Tower. He'll be up on Moldorm 2 soon enough. Guest appearance by Blue Ham.
Blue Ham 83.
Sets up for a nice triple here.
Nice triple cycle. That last one, that was tight to set that up. That was really nice.
Yeah, top right Ganon is a little bit tough to get. Nice clean Moldorm 2 fight from Parisian.
Nice fight. And as they used to say on Celebrity Deathmatch, good fight, good night. We have a winner, and it's Allegiance Andy. Very well done, sir.
And Aghanim 2 is down for Parisian. Make his way onto the Ganon fight with only 5 hearts.
Let's see if we can get Andy in here for an interview. The last phase for Parisian Player. Another appearance by Blue Ham. Hey, we're joined by Andy. Great race. Congrats on the win.
Thanks. It could have been quite a bit better, but I played really well, minus like 2 things.
Yeah, the fall and Hera being one of them.
That wasn't even a fall. I just mirrored.
Oh, yes, the mirror. Yes, the mirror. Yeah, it was a solid run. It's 126. Do you think that you would have been a little bit closer to PB without the mirror?
I lost about 41 seconds to the mirror, so it would have been a PB.
What was really interesting about that is, like, even though you did accidentally mirror, Moldorm was just giving Parisian Player like all kinds of really bad RNG and just kind of sticking there on the left side. So like your Moldorm fight was just a lot more advantageous for you to catch that up, and you guys actually exited the dungeon like almost neck and neck.
Nice.
Yeah, you left slightly ahead. You were still ahead after Hera. It was an incredibly close race. It was a really good one.
Then my beginning of my Dark was a little bit sloppy, and then I saved like 25 seconds in Ice and Swamp combined. The Ender Turtle Rock is what killed the PB pretty much.
Yeah, the laser skip there. That was a clinch moment for sure.
Yeah, I think what happened was when I canceled my dash, I canceled just left instead of down left, so I just kind of like walked off the edge. And then I didn't know what to do at that point because that never happened to me before.
Seemed to handle it well, though. I mean, you got out of there, you fixed, you got rid of the red beetle, and then you got the laser skip.
Now, your hover in Ice Palace, was that just to help you save time, or was that just to help you kind of carry that bomb over?
It's nice for keeping bombs, but then I ended up dropping one and having to throw it, so it didn't really save me that bomb, but...
I saw that.
GG, Parisian player.
GG to you. Did you improve your time for seedings, or because it looks like it's close? But
Yeah, by like 25 seconds or so.
oh, good job. I improved it by 5 minutes, so yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm happy.
I could have PB'd, but I messed up the Ender Turtle Rock. I dropped Molthorn 2 hover and I mirrored at the Hera bomb jump.
Yeah, it was -0 after Meyer and +2 after T-Rock, so I had a good shot on PB, but GT was horrible. I got an 815 GT, so after that it was over.
I was +55 after Hera. And then one blue ball brought me down to +17. And then I brought it down to +7 after Swamp, and then I just started losing time every split.
That time save at 8 tower, my goodness, that's incredible.
Yes. What happens when you have 6 blue balls worth of time loss in your PB?
Yeah.
Yeah, looks like we were both about 30 seconds off of our PBs.
Yeah, so I was on a very good pace at the beginning, and it was probably going to be one of my best light words, if not my best. Well, at least after Hera, but Moldorm was a jerk, being on the left the entire fight. And in RTA, yeah, you can try to dash on the left side to get the hits, but on a race, like, you don't want to risk that. So I stayed forever in that fight. I'm surprised that Ice Palace was only +5 because there were still some mistakes. I didn't get the hammer dash after the bomb jump. I got a very bad cold stare. Not great RNG just before the warp before going to Ice Palace.
Yeah, I took a hit from the Zora at the Whirlpool.
And then Swamp was like a disaster. Everything was rushing on me.
If I had gotten 0 cycle Argus, I would have gotten like a 640 Swamp. It would have been great.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw my Aga, but as I told you, I wanted at least Aga to be nice, considering I had two blue balls on the first race versus you. And I started the fight with 3 blue balls. I'm like, yeah. And it was just little TZ gave me 3 blue balls just in the end. So
this was the first race where I got less than 5.
Nice. I think I got 3 my 3 runs. I think. I know I got more than that. In my first against Contos, I got 5.
Yeah, I got 5 against Contos yesterday, and then 5 in our first race, I think.
Also, my Trinix was very scary. I went for the back door, like I always do, and I pause buffer normally at my dash to switch to the ice rod, and I buffered way too early, so I went for front strat and I totally messed it up somehow. And yeah, it was after that very, very scary. I start rodding not on the heads, so I was like, maybe I'm gonna lack of magic here. It's going to be bad. I went through, hopefully, but this was scary for me.
Yeah, I had a pretty good turtle rock, and then the end on Laser Bridge, I walked off the ledge, then took a beetle hit, fell off the ledge again, and then got through. Ended up leaving with like 2 hearts, so my fight was a little slow, but.
So
Also,
go ahead.
yeah, I was going to say that exceptionally my spin speed were not too bad today. I think I missed only 1, so that's nice.
So taking a quick look at the group standings right now, it seems as though you have both progressed to the next round, with Andy winning the group at 3-0 and Parisian finishing at 2-1. So GG's to you both for advancing to brackets.
Thanks.
Woo. I'm pretty happy with the 126, 23, or 27, whatever the race time was. Is my seeding time.
It's a solid time, Andy. It's very well done, man.
Okay. I think I'm done then.
Yeah, thank you both for popping in. GG's to you both, and good luck in brackets.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
And that's going to about do it for this race. GG's again to both Andy and Parisian Player for advancing, and I think that's it. Let's see what's coming on next for Speed Gaming. Looks like we got some Zelda 1 randomizer is up next at 10 o'clock still. Be sure to stay tuned for that and many other things coming up on the entire family of Speed Gaming channels. But for now, this is going to do it for us. I'm drock913 at 4.
And I'm Ninnies.
We'll see you next time. Good night.